So one of the things that I get asked a lot is, how do I wrap my soaps? They're in these little soapy tuxedos, little paper wrappers, folded up kind of like a Christmas present on the bottom. I get a lot of questions about like, how do you do that? How do you make these cute little soap jackets? So you can see this one's kind of tight. I just wrapped it, but they slide in and out. The little bars slide in. So I thought I would do a quick little video kind of explaining what my process is. I've got 2 trays of soaps to wrap to go out for this month's order. Got my little extra guac avocado ombre soaps, which are super cute. And then these ones were from a challenge club. These are the Aurora Borealis soaps. I was kind of going for an Aurora Borealis color scheme. You can see they're super shiny in the camera. But these are getting wrapped for this month's orders. So I start with just plain craft paper. I get this off of Amazon. It's usually pretty inexpensive. I like this particular brand because it's real thin, which makes it nice and easy to work with. Like, you don't want cardstock. Cardstock is really hard to fold. And it comes in these kind of different vintage patterns, which I think kind of give a little bit of personality to the soaps. So I will start by counting out how many bars I have. So for this set, I've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 bars to wrap. And then I'll usually kind of look through, just because the bars vary in size, and I'll pick one of the taller, thicker ones to be the one that I use to measure out my paper. So I use the tall skinny molds from Nurture. I know that they fit, I can fit 2 bars per page if I do them like this. So I'll start with just 1 piece of paper and just extra confirm that the bars are not so thick that it doesn't wrap. I want this to wrap all the way and then kind of meet at the edge. So you can see this is actually just a tiny bit too thick, but it's gonna work just fine for what we're doing today. And then I will lay my bar down. I want the paper to be just past the tip of the bar. And then I want about a finger's width at the bottom. You want to be about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. That's what's going to make your fold on the bottom. So you're doing it kind of like you're wrapping a Christmas present. So you want to have a little bit of extra give on the bottom there. Then I just move these already wrapped bars out of the way. Lots of different ways to do this. You can use scissors if you want to. The easiest way for me was I just bought one of these little paper guillotines. They're super cheap and I use this thing all the time. It's amazing. So we're going to scoot our first paper in just to get our measurements. I slice it down on that line. And then I'm going to measure against the rest of the cut because I want to be able to wrap 2 bars from each. And I should have 2 pieces of paper, 2 cuts that are about the same size, which I do. A little bit of variance doesn't really matter as long as they're mostly the same. So I know I've got 13 bars, and I can get 2 from a cake, so I want 7 pieces of paper. So I'm going to count it by 6. And then again, I just use these as my guides. I know that they are right to this 5-inch line. So I can mark my paper with both sets of cuts that I'm going to want. Sometimes with thicker paper, you don't want to cut it all at once. I know that kind of the max for this guillotine to make a straight cut is like 5 or 6 pages. I'm at 6 right now, so I'm kind of pushing the limits of what it can cut smoothly. But again, like, your edges don't have to be super straight for this. You just need them to be mostly square is good enough. And now I have all my cuts. I'm gonna move this out the way. Move these extra pieces out the way. Then I use these little dot roller glue tapes. They're from AdTech. They're really cheap on Amazon. I really like them. They are, you can kind of see the adhesive on this little strip. They make this very easy. So you start by taking your bar of soap. I usually wipe it just to make sure there's no dust or little speckles on it. lay it on your bar, wrap it around, and then I just use my fingers to kind of guide a crease into the soap. And then same thing, guide a crease into the soap. You don't need to worry about if the top's sticking out or not right now. We're just checking the width because that's how we're going to make our folds. So then you can see how the paper's got these little guideline creases where we folded. So you're going to fold one side down. Then the other side, I always put a little blue dot because this is going to be the side that's on top for me, the way that I wrap them. And then I run a layer of fluid on the bottom because that's what's going to seal up the bottom of my little parcel. Now is where I want to line up my edges, so I like to line up the soap with top of the paper and the top of my fold with the corner of my bar. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of adjusting to kind of get it centered. And then there's a couple of different ways to glue this top piece. You can either, what I do is I kind of put my finger where it's going to be, and then I just run adhesive down like that. You can also mark on this side, you can put your glue here, you can put your glue on this already. There's a bunch of different ways. This is the way that I've found is kind of the fastest for me. You can see now it's wrapped. Then this little bottom you just fold up like you would a Christmas present. So I fold down and I crease the sides in. Remember there's already glue on this bottom bit, so it's nice, it holds it. If it's a thick overlap, you can also run the glue along the bottom of the present and make a double layer. And then you just fold it up, give it a little press, and it seals. And ta-da, you've got a little soapy tuxedo.